Hi, everyone. I'm Summer,
I'm Carrie.
and this is Hopelexia Podcast.
Join us to talk about sex, drugs, and self improvement.
Hello.
So sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it. I am
I am parked by the road. So, for context for anybody who hears this, we are currently in snowpocalypse when this was recorded. It'll be a few weeks before it goes up, so everything will look different. But right now, everything is covered in snow.
Yeah.
So, my car is parked up by the highway to make sure I can get in and out when I need to. Um, So I'm sitting up here because it's the only place I have privacy in my house. I don't have privacy in my house. So we do things in the car right now.
How's that been? Adjusting to no privacy.
I, okay. I don't want to. I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't mind. I don't mind Penguin staying here. I do not. There are a couple of issues. One, he made things insanely difficult with the no sex rule.
Yeah.
And I don't think he understands that half the time when he's like frustrated with me and we're both short with each other, I'm like, yeah, there's a reason for that. Like,
Yeah.
and, but then it's also like bullshit. Like, um, like he'll do stuff, especially like been, when he's been drinking or something. And I'm like, no, you
Right.
said no. Like, we're not doing this. And I'm like,
Because
whatever your
like,
reason is for saying no, I'm not doing this. Like, you've been drinking. No, no, no. Which I've always had the rule. Um, for the last 14 years, I'm not going to have sex with you while you're drunk, even if I'm drunk. I mean, there happened a few times we were both really drunk and we just did.
yeah.
But my rule's always been you sleep it off, and then in the morning we can do this and this. So that's always been our routine. And then since he's been here, and so we talk a whole lot more, I have found out a few things.
hmm
Like about there were a few situations earlier this year where he had me come stay with him and he hid the fact that he had been drinking from me. And I'm like, I'm not okay with
Yeah.
the fact that we had sex while you were
Knowing that it's been like a rule that you guys don't
right.
have
Like
sex when he's
I'm
drunk.
not right. Like I'm not okay with that.
Yeah. That's
And
icky.
right, like I don't feel okay about that. And also I'm a little disturbed by the fact that he
Was able to like hide that he was drunk.
yes, I'm like,
People that can hide their drunk drink too much.
and that's what I said. I'm like, you realize that's a sign of a
Yeah.
serious problem, right? Like when you don't even seem
Because if
but,
you
but
like, if you can hide that you're like drunk, that means your tolerance is like so ridiculously high that it would probably kill someone else.
oh
Like,
yeah, so definitely, yeah. His tolerance is what, yeah, I would just die. But
Lord.
anyway, so it's been interesting, but I don't mind him living here. That's great. It's been 6 months. I actually, yeah, that's not a problem. The unfinished nature of the house complicates things because you can't ever put things. Oh, my son just drove in beside me, and I thought he wasn't going to stop there for a second. I don't know how he's planning on getting out to go home though when he just pulled down into that snow. I guess that's uh, I guess that's something he'll figure out when he decides to leave. But anyways, that part's fine other than the no sex thing. But the problem is, like, fine. He's waving at me. Hold on a second. I'm recording, so don't come over here in front of the camera unless you want to be on YouTube. You can go on in. They're in there. But walking through the neighbor's property. I don't know what he's assessing over here, but he's trying to figure out how to drive out of here. But anyways, so like, fine, you don't want to have sex while you're staying here. That whatever, Even though I don't understand the why, but
Right.
ultimately it doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't get to fuck up my sex life.
Right.
So
Like, just because you don't want to have sex doesn't mean that I can't have sex.
exactly, and I told him that we had that conversation. He's like, okay, whatever, But the problem is, there's no privacy. We're currently sharing a car. Do you know how big a lie it sounds like you're telling when you tell someone, oh, I have this roommate, but I mean, come on. We're not together. Come on. It sounds like bullshit. I would assume somebody was lying if they told me that.
That's how I feel when I tell people I have 3 roommates as a grown adult that's 30 years old.
Well, and it's extra complicated too. Like if they come to, if the person is to come to my house, like you can tell we sleep together. There's nowhere else for
Yeah.
it. Like, who's going to believe I have this man who, yes, I used to have a sexual relationship with for 14 years, but we don't have sex now. We just sleep together every night. It sounds like I'm lying.
It sounds like a lot of marriages.
Exactly.
A lot of loveless, sexless relationships that just need to die. Not yours, just like,
Well, some of them still love each other, but yeah, they ain't having sex. So they may not be attracted to each other or whatever the reason is. But yeah, and so it makes it hard to find a partner. I had somebody that I was seeing there for a minute who understood the situation, was okay with it. I don't know what the hell happened with that. Things were going great, and then just haven't heard from him since Christmas.
love that. Love when people ghost.
Right. So I'm like, well, okay. Um, but it's also particularly weird, like in the current world we live in, because like last I heard from him, like the whole household was sick, and now I haven't heard from him at all. And I'm like, is everybody okay? So I'm actually genuinely concerned too.
Do like a wellness check, like creep on social
Right,
media, like
yeah, because I'm like, if you don't want to see me anymore, that's perfectly fine. But like, are y'all okay? Okay,
right, like pre-COVID, I wouldn't have thought anything about it, but now after COVID, I'm like, that whole household is dead. I can't.
Exactly, but now it's like, oh,
because that can actually happen,
right,
dude.
And yeah, so it's like, okay, but so it's weird where your brain goes now, because yeah, since we've all been dealing with COVID, for
yeah,
5 years now, that is the first thing you think. But anyways, and so Penguin crashed my New Year's Eve party, which means what I did was he's got a couple of daughters. They're basically grown. And they came in to visit. That's great. And they have family all over the state. So, what they do is they kind of go and see as much of the family as they can while they're here. So they were all going to be gone. So I planned go back up there and see you guys for New Year's Eve. I got an Airbnb. Like, we'll have a little New Year's Eve party hangout. And because we are all too damn old to be going out.
and I got sick.
I know. We missed you so much. I do appreciate, though, that you told us that your roommate was sick and didn't just show up like a lot of people would have and made us all sick. We really appreciate you for that. But yeah, he crashed the New Year's Eve party. So my plan was I had a dick appointment scheduled for the afternoon, right? Checkouts at 3.
As one does.
He was supposed to be there at 4 because nobody else was going to show up until 7 or 8. Well, the family member that Penguin was supposed to stay with that night, they got sick. Okay, come over at bedtime after you're done visiting all the other family.
Right.
And you guys can stay here. There's enough room. I'm like, everybody else lives close. They probably aren't, they're probably going to want to sleep in their own bed anyway instead of staying here. I get to the house at 3 o'clock to check in, and he pulls up at 3:03. So then I have to cancel my dick appointment.
The worst.
So that was, yeah.
Those appointments make me so sad to cancel.
Right. Because, like, seriously, you couldn't have just waited and came over at the time you were told to come. Then I could have been in my right mind and I wouldn't have wanted to smother you with a pillow while you slept that night. And I didn't, though I promise he's still alive.
Use
But
this video as evidence.
again, here's the weird thing for me, and maybe somebody out there in internet world can explain this. For somebody who doesn't want to have sex with me and wants to make sure everybody knows we aren't together, because he says it over and over and over every time he meets somebody since we've started staying together. Never before, but now, anytime he meets a new person, he says the word friend 18 times to make sure, which I have to say comes off as kind of offensive at a certain point, because it's like, dear God,
Yeah.
are you just humiliated for people to think you would ever be with me? Like, that's what it sounds like. But whatever. Because I don't correct people. It's unless they're close enough for me, to know my business. Like, it's none of their fucking business. I don't care what assumption they make.
Right.
So he does. So explain that. But then, like, here, well, a few weeks ago, he went and got a hotel. He's like, I want to go get a hotel room. Okay. I thought he just wanted some time by himself because there's
Right.
no privacy.
Right.
And then he's like, I'll get 2 rooms. Okay, that's nice. You're going to get a place for me and my son to stay too. That's really nice. And he says, that way your son can have his own room.
The child?
Well, he's 13, so,
The medium-aged child?
right. So if they're in the hotel room next door, it's not a big deal. But the thing was, I'm like, why are you so, like, obsessive? We're not together. We can't have sex, but you want me in your fucking bed when you don't have to have me there.
Right.
I
Like,
don't understand. Am I your blankie?
here's emotional support blanket.
Apparently, I don't know. So it's weird. Like, so I don't know. He's in the process of trying to get a place. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know, because he's telling me about this place he went and looked at a couple days ago, and he's like, which, at first when he started looking, he's like, anytime you want to, you can come over, even if it's just to hang out. And he said it like he used to say hang out for me to come. I'm like, are you really just thinking this is you're gonna flip a switch and it goes back to
Right.
what it was?
As if things haven't definitely changed in the last 6 months.
I don't think he thinks it has. I think in his head everything goes back the way it was, and I'm like,
No.
even if we started having sex again, like, what that was is never going to be the same again.
Yeah, like you can't undo 6 months of living with someone. Like you see things that you never thought you would see when you live with people. Like having sex with people and being like really good friends and like staying the night with people is not the same as living with them.
Right. It's
You learn very intimate things about people.
It's also convinced me I was right when I have said all these years that I never wanted to live with another adult again. Because he and I are probably the most 2 compatible people on the planet. And I still would just rather have the space to myself.
Yes.
And it's not even anything about him.
It's just I want my alone time.
I want my own, right. I want my own space. And my house was designed with that in mind. Like, yes, I still have 1 minor child, but there's only a few years left.
Yeah.
And he's going to be on his own. And so the space was designed with the idea of me being the only one living in it.
And he's such a chill person. Like,
what, my kid?
13-year-old. Yeah. Like he's so,
yeah.
Like, I'm going to go hang out and play games, or I'm going to go take a walk. And I'm like, he's chill.
He really is. Right now he's out there having a snowball fight with his brother, which I find hilarious.
Love that. My roommate and his girlfriend made a snowman last night.
It was adorable. He called the 22-year-old yesterday, and he says, will you play in the snow with me? He says, yeah, absolutely. Come on.
That's so cute.
So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm driving him to your house. I'll be there. He'll be there in a few minutes.
You raise good kids.
Yeah. So I'm driving over on my lunch break to take him to go play in the snow with his brother, and then I'm working in the car and at his house the rest of the afternoon.
That's so adorable.
But yeah, so I don't know. My dick appointment got canceled. He crashed my New Year's Eve party. Let's see what else. Oh, and then I had another guy. The first Tinder guy that I hooked up with after he started staying here, he hit me up the other night, and I couldn't meet up with him because I was in the middle of managing
Yeah.
a meltdown. He was angry at me, and we were in the middle of a thing,
Hmm.
and so I'm like, fuck. I just need
It's just like, yeah, no, yeah,
so the new rule for 2025 and every year hereafter is I will not be accepting complaints about anything I do or how I live my life from anyone who isn't providing me with orgasms.
yes, that's totally fair. That's a good role to have, honestly.
I think so. Because if you aren't that close to me, you've got no business
I feel
critiquing my life.
like I feel like you're going to be a lot happier in that aspect from now on.
I like it. That's the new boundary.
It's a good boundary to have.
It's a great
It's
boundary.
very clearly defined, easy to stick to. Like,
Well, and I like that it doesn't include everybody you have sex with, because let's face it, there are a lot of men who ain't getting there. So, which brings
unfortunately,
us to you. How you been? Tell us about that date.
it's been good. Currently have two partners,
Nice, nice.
so going swing. They're great. Um, I spent the night at one of their houses the other day, last week.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And you know, it's hard for me to sleep anywhere that's not
Yes.
by myself in my own house.
Yes, I
So it was a
understand.
big deal. I actually slept
Yay, that's
for
awesome.
like, I slept for like an hour and a half because the rest of the time I couldn't like make myself sleep, but I did sleep for like an hour and a half, and that's a big step for me. So
Big. That is big.
it was great. I think it's funny, but it's not funny. He has a CPAP machine, and the white noise helps me sleep
Oh my god.
from his CPAP machine.
I wish Penguin would get one. He's got sleep apnea, and especially if he's been drinking. And I'm like, I'm staying awake to make sure you don't
Hmm.
die.
He like my partner. He's always like had like the medical condition. Like he just has to have one. Like he's very healthy, like not overweight. Like he just has to have one. So he calls
This
it
is
his he calls it his Bane mask from Batman.
yeah. Yeah, he's
So
the same way. He's had sleep apnea, but his dad also has it. So he's had sleep apnea, I guess, pretty much the entire time I've known him. So, and he was pretty young then. So I don't know. I wish he would get one though. I think he would definitely sleep better, and I wouldn't feel like, are you going to die?
yeah,
Which is what you said, right? There's a lot of things when you live with somebody, and I'm like, yeah, I've tried to keep you from dying in my bed.
get real intimate details about people, like bathroom habits and like taking care of their self things or lack thereof, and you
Yeah,
can't unlearn those
you
things.
can't unlearn them. No.
Mm-mm. I know things about my roommates that most people probably don't know about their partners, so
Right.
it's
It's wild.
it's
Yeah.
it's interesting, but
It definitely confirmed, and I know people get mad when we say this, but it has definitely confirmed you should not be marrying someone, whether it's the marriage contract or making that, even making that
yeah,
promise, until you've lived with them,
yeah,
because you do not know that person. Like, we've 14 years, okay? And I knew more about him than anybody else on the planet already. Still very, very different living with them.
yeah. Like you don't know someone's like just the tiny things is like what gets me about people. Like when you live with them, like do they leave all the cabinet doors open every time they go through the kitchen and then you have to go close them every time? It's not a big deal until you do it for the 50th time. Or do they always like leave the lid off of something or leave their toothpaste out or have like a pile of toothpaste in the sink that they just haven't washed out because they spit it out and it's been there for like a year?
That's a very specific complaint.
Yeah.
I feel like, yes, sir, then.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
like I've always said like his place has always been like the cleanest I've ever seen any single man. Always. So I just thought, okay, he's just clean and he's a responsible adult or
He cleans
whatever.
like an hour before you get there.
No. He has these like little OCD spirals. He rearranged my whole fucking house earlier. And I'm like trying to work and he's like, no, you're gonna love it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna love the 3 hours of work that I see you just created for me when you piled up my stuff that I'm gonna have to go through.
Yeah.
But I mean, I mean, it's fine. It, he's very happy with it. I'm happy for him. But yeah, it's very different
That's what it
because
is
that
with
happens once or twice a week.
that's how it was with my roommate. I found out it was drugs, but
I think his lack of drugs. I think he needs some medication
his
to
was
calm that anxiety because it happens when he doesn't have something else productive to do. Like normally he would be
mhm.
outside splitting the firewood or whatever. It's all covered in snow currently. It's frozen. So he's like, I have to have something to do. And I'm like, they make medication that can help with this.
Right. Yeah, like you can just like sit sometimes. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to be doing stuff 24/7. You can just like sit.
Or take up
Like
a hobby that doesn't include emptying all of my cabinets.
you could take up a hobby where you just crochet things until
Yes.
the end of time and just spend all I have more crochet things somewhere, but they're all hidden right now. Until you've spent all your money on yarn and have a giant box of yarn that you don't know what to do with because you don't have storage for it.
Yes.
You could do that.
You can do that. So, yeah. But those are the things you learn because it's like, because you see the surface and level stuff until you're living with them and you're like, oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
problem. Like, that's going to take years off your life. You should really see someone about that. And
Yeah.
they say no.
It's wild, man. Ugh. Mm. Yeah, Lord.
Oh, wasn't there a story you wanted to tell on here? I can't remember.
Uh,
Was it the guy you couldn't find the clip? Was that the one you were gonna tell? I don't remember what it was.
I don't know if he watches the podcast.
It could have been something that happened 10 years ago. We don't know.
How long have we been doing the podcast? 6 years?
A long time. And then you were on the Broken one too. So that was many years ago.
Yeah. Dude, so I just clits are not hard to find.
Okay. I had a guy argue with me one time. He
If
couldn't
you just
find it.
look with your eyeballs or touch with your hands, you can find it.
I
Even if
showed
it's
him.
hooded. If it's
I
hooded, you
showed
can still
him.
find
I
it.
put his hand on it.
He
And
said, that's not it.
that's what he said. He said, that's not it. It's right here. And I'm like, you've been watching too much porn. I know it looks like that's where they're touching, but that is not where it is.
Mm-mm. Because in
And
porn, they have to be gentle and do things a little bit different. Like gentle as in not actually touching the clit because it hurts after a while from the overstimulation. And then they can't film anymore because it hurts.
right.
So
And
they
then you
have
don't
to
get all the
do
takes
special
you need
things.
in order for editing, and it's a
Hmm.
problem.
Like those 30-minute porn videos that people watch definitely took like half a day to film and definitely took like 3-4 days to edit. Like,
Well, that's the thing I think a lot of people don't understand who've never worked in like acting
hmm
or any of the other production. Like, those camera angles, those different shots when it switches angle?
hmm like it's
That's
not,
usually a different setup. Like you have to
yeah,
have a different angle for that shot. Like you're having to do this multiple times.
yeah. Like I don't think people understand. I was having sex with this guy and his hand was just like slightly to the left of it. And I was like, so I tried to like migrate over.
And then he moved too.
Yeah, I moved back to it. I was like,
Yeah.
that's just my lip. Like, you're not getting anything. I
Like
don't know what's
that's
happening here.
that's really not gonna do it. Yeah.
It's really not. I was like, man. Everything else
Okay.
is fine, but it's just that.
Hold on. I'm gonna drop. I don't know if it'll cut my camera off. I'm gonna see if I can go to our messages and see what you were saying. You should
I
still be able to hear me.
I can still hear you. I don't
Yeah.
even know if that was the story. I really hope he doesn't watch this episode.
I mean, you know, I went to a tattoo artist one time that was telling me a story about he had a oh, I need to tell about my dog getting high. Remind me.
Yeah, you need to tell about
Um
that.
and so anyways, he was telling me the story about this woman coming in and having him tattoo her clit red because
How?
she said she was so tired of men not being able to find it that she's just like, look for the red spot. Dentist appointment story. Dentist appointment where you gave head and so your mouth was bruised up. That's the one. Tell us that one, Carrie. Oh my God, she's turning purple, guys. Somebody get her an oxygen mask.
That one, Lord. How, yeah, because I was like, there's no way that clit story was the one that I wanted to tell. Like, because the last time we filmed was way before that ever happened. Lord. Okay, so I had my dental checkup like a few weeks ago. I don't remember when it was.
Recently.
Whenever it was a while, it was in 2024. But I went and I had been to my partner's house the night before, and fun fact, he has a Prince Albert large gauge, which is great for like sex and stuff. It's fun. I was giving him head, and
That complicates things.
it does, but I never had like thought about it like being a thing, like while you're giving head, like what it might look like in your mouth like afterwards. But I went to the dentist and they were looking at my teeth and like doing the cleaning and stuff. And she was like, oh, like, have you been like sick or anything like recently or something? Like, because it looks like you might have been like if you were like vomiting or like had a cough or something, because you have like little like petechia like on the roof of your mouth. And I was like, no, I don't think so. Like, you only get petechia from like intense like vomiting or like, and then I was like, oh,
Oh.
it's from giving head, like suck because you suck. And so I had bruises on the roof of my mouth from giving head, and my dentist saw, and I told her that I hadn't done any of those things. And she was like, well, like, I don't know how she, oh. And then she swiftly changed the subject. And I was like, thank you, because I don't want to talk about this because it's already weird enough that you can see the evidence. Like, I don't need to know. Like, I logically know that you know, but I don't need you to tell me so that I actually know you know, because I don't want to discuss that with my dental hygienist. You're very nice and I like you, but I don't want to talk about that with you. I don't know you. So.
Right. So she'll come talk about it with the whole internet.
It's just you that has the face. So I'm telling you. The faceless internet can know because they don't
I am the face.
exist.
I am the face of the internet.
The internet doesn't exist because I can't see them.
Okay, that's fair.
I'd never like thought about it. Now I'm embarrassed. And I told my partner about it, and he was like, "That's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life." And I was like, "No, it's not.
I think
It's
it's hilarious.
embarrassing." And then like the next day, I was like, "Okay, it's funny, but like
Like, it wasn't funny in the moment, but it's
it
funny
was
now.
not funny in the moment because my dental hygienist had to tell my dentist about it, and my dentist is hot, and man,
Man.
my life is weird."
Hey, mine too. Mine's super weird. My dog got high accidentally. So I have edibles that I use generally right before I go to sleep, right? Especially if I'm hurting or whatever. But I have a very low tolerance. So, and it can be really hard to find low dose edibles
Mhm.
that aren't gummy. I can't handle the gummy texture. So I have to have the hard candies. And it cannot be the chocolates because I love chocolate and I'll eat the whole damn thing and it will be bad.
Yeah,
So,
same.
anyways, I've been having trouble finding the low dose edibles, but I was able to find a 100 milligram sucker. So, what I do is I just, suck on it for a minute. That sounds like I'm talking about something else entirely, but
Don't tell
um,
your dentist about it.
I, you might want to know. They might want to know. They might need some tips. Um, so, um, and then I put it back in the package, and I put the package on the windowsill. That was right there by the bed, because of course, like I said, going to bed. And my dog has never ever bothered any type of hard candy, like not just edibles, none at all. So it did not occur to me to be worried. Um, and the next morning we get up, me and Penguin are getting the car ready. We're taking the dogs to this festival out at the state park. And so we go back in, and he's like, what does she smell like? She smells weird. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe she got into something outside. Maybe she found something when she went outside. I don't know. And then I go to, she's being trained as a service dog. His dog, which is her father, is actually already registered as a service dog. So I go over to the bed where the dogs are laying to put their harnesses on, get them ready to go. And I see the package from the sucker on the bed, and it is like ripped like some sort of wild animal. It looks like like it looks like I don't know, like something has clawed into this thing. She ate the whole damn thing, so she had probably 80 milligrams of THC. And I was irritated too, okay, because like I said, this was 100 milligrams, and I dose like 10 to 15 at a time.
Mhm.
I was counting on this thing lasting me for months. So she ate this thing, and I'm like, well, okay, nothing I can do about it at this point. I'm Googling, like, because I know THC isn't good for dogs. Fortunately, she is a giant. She's like 100 pounds.
Big girl.
So dosage wise, not enough to harm her, but it did make her very, very high.
She zooted.
Yes. So the state park we went to that Saturday was like 45 minutes away, I think is how far it is by the time you get in there with traffic and get parked and stuff. So it was starting to hit her as we got there. And she's like, why won't my legs work right? Like, oh. There's video. I should probably splice them in so people can see it. But then people are going to be like, she's cruel to animals or something. But she was so chill. Like, she wasn't, because she's still kind of a puppy. Training can kind of be stressful, right? She's just turned 1 back in September. So at this point, this was only a couple months later. So she was like 14 months old. And she was so chill. She was feeling great. She was like not stressed at all. She went and laid down there the way that place is built, right? There's like it kind of goes in a circle, and there's a courtyard in the middle. And so at one point we went out there to the courtyard, and she's just laid out on her side. And this little toddler comes up to pet her. She loves kids. But she's so chilled out. She's just laying on her side, and nothing's moved. She's letting this little kid just pat her all over her ears, and nothing's moving, but like the little inch of the end of her tail is wagging. Yeah, she's just like, this is great.
Having the best day.
Yes. And so I'd get her up when we needed to go to see something else, and she'd walk over there, and she'd just lay down and just kind of melt into the ground. And so my kids work out there. My grown kids work out there. So that's like the first people we see when we get there, and we tell them. And so they tell all their coworkers. That news made it all the way around there before we got halfway there. So every time we ran into, and then they were telling all the vendors because they know, it's usually the same vendors every year. So they knew most of them. So I would go somewhere and they'd be like, hey, is that the high dog?
Just make a sign and put it on her.
Yeah. The only person who didn't think it was funny was a couple of old ladies that are out there all the time. They're weavers
Hmm.
or spinners. Sorry, spinners. And they sit there and they do the yarn, the wool spinning
Hmm.
wool into yarn. Apparently, I can no longer speak, and I'm not high. Um, and so Nia's walking funny, obviously, and she's like, "Oh, how sad! She's got hip dysplasia." And I'm like, "No, lady, she's high." Like, I
She
promise
stole
she's
my stash and
fine.
ate it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I promise she's fine. I am not dragging a dog out here that has, a painful
Yeah.
disability, forcing her to walk. She just got into an edible she shouldn't have had. Well, I guess you need to lock those up, huh? And I'm like, really? Thank you for the tip. Obviously, she was only unattended for like 2 minutes.
For real. And like 2 minutes is a long time to toddlers, dogs, and cats.
Yes,
Anything can happen in 2 minutes with them. The
yes,
world could end in those 2 minutes, and it's because of them.
yes. So now everything stays in one of my train cases so that it's locked up because she cannot be trusted because she is my little junkie dog. That's what I keep calling her now. She's my junkie dog. But
I mean, you did name her Nia, which like means like chunky or fat, right? I think the girl.
it means fat. Yeah, it's fat.
She likes
Um,
her treats.
like literally the fat. Yeah, like the fat off of meat.
She likes her treats.
Well,
Same girl.
well, she needs to. I do too, and she needs to leave my treats alone. She has her treats, and she needs to leave mine alone.
She can't help herself. She likes the treats.
Yeah, and that's why she's a junkie.
I felt that. I
Yeah,
bought a box of fruit snacks yesterday, a 40
they're
pack,
gone.
halfway.
Oh my God! Did you know
I
they
can't
make
stop.
a? Did you know they make a 5 pound gummy bear?
Yeah, and looking at it makes me want to die because I I love gummy bears. Love them. Can eat a whole bag in like one sitting. But that amount of gummy bear makes me feel like my insides are gonna explode.
My daughter, my 19-year-old daughter, bought the 13-year-old one of those gummy bears for his birthday. He has a 5 pound gummy bear that he has been steadily trying to eat for like a week.
He's gonna hate gummy bears after that.
He was
I
very proud of himself when he finished one of the ears. He's like, "Look, one of the ears is done." I'm like, "That is ridiculous. Nobody needs a gummy bear that big."
like, does it even taste good? Because I feel like it's like just gelatin flavor.
Probably. I have no idea.
Ugh,
I didn't ask him what it tastes like.
you
And
should just like take
I
a little
can't
piece.
sample it. Well, I can't take the gummy.
Oh yeah.
So I don't
Mm.
know. Oh, I see the burn on my hand. See my burn?
I thought it was lipstick. What'd you
No.
do?
I'm an idiot. I
Story of my life with most of my scars.
That's one of the things that we're not supposed to say, right? I don't know the history of it, but I think it was had an ableist history or something. I'll have to look that back up. Sorry, guys.
I don't remember, but
Anyways, I messed up. I fucked up. How about that? I fucked up.
I
I
fudged.
was making I was making lye soap.
You pulled a fight club.
So when it comes to lye, when you're working with lye, you always put lye into the water. You never put water into the lye because it causes this amazing eruption. Well, I remembered that where it came to the water, but somehow in my head I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if it was the ADHD or what. When I went to add the
Hello?
you were gone for a second.
You froze.
Okay, I almost panicked. um, so I went to add the essential oil, and I poured it in the wrong pan. I poured it in the pan with the lard, and then in my infinite brilliance, I said, "It's only a little. I'm sure it'll be fine." And so then I poured the lye water in, and it was this amazing, incredible eruption. Thank God I had turned the fire off.
Right.
Otherwise, we would have had a kitchen fire, because it's a gas burner, right? So it's an open flame. Um, so
You really did pull a Fight Club.
it was an impressive eruption. The soap still turned out. I got a burn out of it, and hopefully I will remember next time to not do that again.
Did I tell you that one of my roommates had never seen Fight Club until like a
No.
month ago?
Did you make him watch it?
She watched it with her boyfriend because she like when he found out she'd never watched it and I could never get her to sit down and watch it with me.
Mm-hmm.
But she never told me she never watched it. He made her watch it and it was amazing. And she thought about it for a week straight.
Oh wow!
She kept bringing it up to me and she's like, "But in Fight Club, like when this happened," and I was like, "I know. You just have to watch it again because you're not gonna get it the first time you watch it.
Watch it again and again.
You have to watch it." I can only take it like once a year because there's just so much in Fight Club. Fight Club is a lot. It's a good movie, but it's
I
a
haven't
lot.
watched it in a long time. Maybe I should rewatch it again, just because.
Because she was like, but when Brad Pitt and Tyler, when what is his name? Brad Pitt and
Don't ask me to
Ed
remember.
Norton. Ed Norton.
I never got
When
that.
they were in the scenes together, she was like, am I double in your speaker?
No,
It's double for me. I don't understand.
I
Weird.
don't know.
She was like, when they filmed the scenes together, like which one is Tyler Durden and which one is the other one? And I was like, they're the same person. She was like, no, they're not. Like they had the two scenes together. And I know at the end, like they're supposed to be one person, but like they can't be because they're in the scene together. And I was like, were they?
Think about it.
Or was it
Think
just
about
in
it
Ed
more.
Norton's mind?
Right. Like think about it a little more.
Because
Go a
when
little
Marla
deep.
saw them, Marla saw Ed Norton, she called him Tyler Durden, and she didn't know who other Tyler Durden, like one and the same. And she was just like, I can't do this. My brain hurts. And I was like, I know. You're like 25 years late to the game, but like, welcome.
Oh man.
It's great. I love watching people watch movies for the first time.
Well, I would be a riot then because there are a lot of movies I have not seen, and I have trouble. I have trouble sitting through an entire movie at one time. So streaming has been amazing because then I can stop it and then I can come back to it, and I'm finally seeing movies that everybody else has seen years ago. So
That's another reason why I crochet because I can't sit still during anything ever. And I'm not crocheting now. So I'm just like picking things apart over here.
I know I'm playing with my hair over here.
And
Like,
I forgot to take my meds this morning
oh no.
because I got a cat.
Yay.
His name's Salem. He's not allowed in the room right now because he'd be trying to eat everything,
Naturally.
as cats do. And he usually wakes me up at 7:45 every day.
Wow.
He's on a schedule. He knows that's breakfast time.
So he has more of a schedule than you do, is what I'm
Absolutely. I have a schedule now because of him. I have a sleep schedule because of Salem, my cat. He wants me in bed at 10 p.m. every day. He wants to wake me up at 7:45 every day. And if I'm not doing either one of those things, he's very upset with me. But today he let me sleep in until 9, which was amazing. But I forgot to take my meds because it wasn't the usual time that I take them.
Your schedule's off, yeah.
I'll be real honest, I forgot what we were talking about before I brought up Salem.
I don't remember either. I think we were wrapping it up though. Any other updates you want to give the world? I think I'm out of like that. Pretty much has been my last couple months. What do you got?
I
Anything
think
else?
that's it for me too. 2 new partners, a cat.
I wish I had 2 partners or one regular.
It's great. They're great.
I miss that. I'm not gonna lie. I just miss having sex regularly. Like this is not okay.
It's not like regular because they also have partners. I need to get me a third one, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Darn.
I did mention. I left that out when he was like telling me about the place that he just looked at. It's furnished. it's a cabin, like, and the reason is because his work crew's moving into a different place. He was going to get this house in this one town, but they're moving to a different place, so
Mm.
there's nothing as far as rentals except these little cabins for like tourists. And so there's like a little, you could generously call it like an efficiency. It's very, very small. It has a bunk bed in it. And he's like, so when, your son isn't home, like he's like, there's not enough room for him, but when he's not home, if you want to come over there and, spend the night. And I'm like, I'm not sleeping on top bunk. And he's like, oh no. So I'm like, so you going to sleep in a twin bed with me? I mean, we've done it before.
You're gonna be sleeping like this.
Well, we've done it before, and we've slept on couches together and stuff. But that's also what raised the question of: Are we going to be? Are you planning on us having sex again? Because like, why in the fuck would you want to sleep that close to me?
Right.
Because right now, when we sleep in the same bed, he puts something between us half the
The
time.
only thing that's gonna be between you and him in a twin bed is an atom or two.
Right. So that's
Like,
why I'm like in my head, but I can't ask him because he gets all weird and he doesn't talk about it, and it's like, and I'm like, well, I don't get no answer, so I'm just like, okay, if you want me to come over, I'll come over, and I guess I'll just figure it out as I go.
I think he very clearly still wants to have sex, but he just doesn't know how to rationalize that in his brain with everything else. So
I
he's just
think,
like, I'm gonna cut out the sex to take one thing out of my brain.
and I think part of it's the power dynamic, right? It's my house,
Yeah. Which, like, no shame.
which I get. I just, I think if he felt comfortable having a conversation, we probably could have just dealt with that and not made this more difficult on himself, because like it's kind of
It is a key part of like living with someone to be able to talk to them, you know?
right. Well, he can talk to me about everything else, but he gets weird about talking about sex, and he always has. That's just been the thing. And um so it's like I said, like I can tell when he's starting to feel some kind of way, because like he'll put a pillow between us or get the dog to come sleep between us or something, and I'm like,
Very
this is
subtle.
silly. Like this is silly. Like it's really silly.
I,
um
I will never understand.
I don't get it, and I don't.
Like, we don't have to get it, but like,
Well, and I don't think it's but I also don't think it's just about me or our power dynamic or anything else either. I think he's just had a lot happening because he had a date planned and he stood her up.
mm,
Um, and I know that he has, messaged and flirted and I assume sexting with somebody, because he opened a text message or whatever right in front of me the other day, and she sent a picture of her. I don't understand sending a cleavage shot with just your shirt on. I don't know. I guess I took too many. I guess I've taken too many nudes, because I'm just like, well, that's interesting, but what? Why? What's the point? But whatever. I guess whatever makes him happy. But so I don't understand, like, that he's flirted with these, whoever it is he's talking to, that he hasn't gone to see them
hmm,
because he's not going anywhere. Like, I know,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe he's just overwhelmed with everything, and so that just simplifies his life. I don't know. But
Is it
yeah,
simplifying his life?
I
Because it
don't think
sounds
it
like he's
is.
struggling.
I don't think it is. I think it's making it more difficult. But again, I can't talk to him about that without it sounding like I'm trying to like be coercive, and I'm not.
Like, I
I
just
think he needs
want,
to get laid by somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be me.
right? Like, I
Um,
just want to make sure, like, I don't know how you would phrase it. Just be like, I just want to make sure you're taking care of you, bro. Like, don't call him bro. That's probably a bad choice of words. Probably make him feel even weirder. Don't call him bro.
I don't know. But then he does things like last night, I get the massage gun, right? Because, he works a physical job. And so his back will be hurting a lot. And so I used that on his back before bed last night so he could go to sleep. And then he's like, here, let me use it on you. And he uses it pretty much, my entire back of my, and then he puts it like on my breast. And I said, you need to stop that because you're about to start something else entirely that you said
Yeah.
was off limits. And he's like, okay. Like, no, we're not playing jump rope with this line.
Yeah.
If the line is
Like you
there, it's
said,
there.
no sex, that means no foreplay, no nothing.
Right. Like, don't do that to me. It's not
Because
nice.
that's mean.
Well, because he's done that, and that's why he started putting, and that's how I can tell when he starts putting stuff between us, because he had to start doing that because he was trying to initiate in his sleep, which is not unusual for us. Like, that's normal. But I'm like, you can't do that to me
Yeah.
when the rule is no.
Because you can't consent when you're in that weird sleepy brain state, like
Well,
him, because like he said no sex, so like if he's doing
right.
it like when he's like half asleep, you can't really like consent to that because you're not fully aware of like what you're doing.
Right. And I'm not sure, especially now, like I said, since I, found out about the couple times when he had been drinking and I didn't know he had been drinking that much and all of that. I'm like, no. I don't know if you're awake. I don't know if you've drank something while I was asleep. I don't know what's happening. No.
Yeah.
Which he's been real good about, trying to keep that line. But I do think that he's made his life more difficult than it needed to be with this choice. But
He just
so
needs to have sex and just get it out of the system, even if it's not like with you or just like it's
or
some random person, like just
somebody.
have sex with somebody.
Somebody. But I don't know.
I think
Oh,
he'd be a
and
lot happier.
before we hang up, weirdness, okay? So
I love
I was
weird.
cleaning out my car. Okay. Now, for anybody who's never seen this place, I live in the middle of nowhere. I built a tiny house on the backside of a 2-acre property. So there is an acre and a half of land, which for anybody who doesn't know, an acre is like 200 something feet or whatever. So it's big, right? A lot of property between my house and the road. So my driveway, I drive all the way down nearly to the house. So all the way down there. Park my car in the same place. I'm getting stuff out of the trunk. Because this was after New Year's Eve. Just what brought the question, right? So this was after New Year's Eve. So we had all this stuff, from the trips and stuff in the trunk. So I'm emptying the car and I look down on the ground and there's a little package. Okay, I don't think anything about it. And then I see, and it's a black package, and then I see the word lubricated in big white letters. And I'm like, so it is a empty condom wrapper, some brand. It's definitely not mine because it's a brand I've never heard of. But it's weirdly all the way down here in my yard. So it's not like stuff blows from the road into
Yeah.
my trees at the front of the property. But the only way to get shit down that far is it has to be down there. And so now, again, New Year's Eve, he crashed my party, so I know exactly where he was. He was sleeping beside me. So, but he went to a friend's for Christmas. Now, mind you, I did go pick him up and bring him home. But, there was all that time in between. I think, well, maybe he hooked up with somebody and this fell out of his bag or something. And I said something to him about it. I'm like, I'm hoping that's yours
Yeah.
because it's not mine. And if it's neither one of ours, then I have questions about what it's doing in the yard.
Yeah.
Because even my kid hadn't been around for a week. He'd been at his dad's for a week.
Yeah.
So it wasn't his. And I'm like, and he's like, it ain't mine. I don't have no condoms. And I'm like, so there's the mystery condom wrapper. We don't know where the hell it came from, but it was in my fucking yard. Right? It's weird.
That's real weird.
Because even if you're like, say, people look in a park somewhere, my driveway is
Right?
not a convenient spot to
And
be
you're
pulling
risking a
into
lot
weird.
pulling into someone's driveway. Like, what if they have security cameras?
Right. So it's weird. I don't
Or if they're
know.
home and you just didn't, they don't have a car.
And you didn't realize. Yeah. So I
Like,
don't know. But there's my weirdness. I have no idea where, first of all, like I said, I've never even heard of this brand of condoms, let alone know where this came from. Why is it my yard?
that's really weird.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And to be sure you never miss an upload, make sure you turn your notifications on. And please come join us on social media so we can continue these conversations in between episodes. You'll find us at Hypoxia Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.